Can I be seen? Just testing here. Are you? Yeah. Okay. Good morning. If you can hear me on YouTube, we are just testing. Thank you for bearing with. As usual, I'm late. Technical issues were driving, speed restrictions, and general absolute nightmare traffic. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. So I'm going to start any second. Oh shit! Sugar. Sorry. Good afternoon. I don't know if any of you watch YouTube, but I'm often quite late with technical issues. Today it's just a traffic thing, 50 miles an hour for about 100 miles. So thank you for waiting. Thank you for coming. What a lovely turnout. And I'm glad we've avoided what looks to be a bit of a damp squib yet over at the other side of Speaker's Corner. Right in front of me here, if you want to take home, and I've even bought some cable ties if you want to decorate your own home with these. And on one side it says, I love free speech, and on the other is a transphobic dog whistle. So help yourselves. Okay, so it's so wonderful. It's quite nice here, actually. I think this might actually be the better place. And everyone can sit down. And when it rains, I've got some umbrellas in the car. That's about a 20-minute walk. So brilliant. So we're all here because we all recognise that there is an absolute assault on women's rights, and that starts with the language we're allowed to use. And the whole point of the lovely Venice suggesting that we should start is the public square. And so we're going to just avoid that public square and do meaningful, real, actual public square conversations. And all of you, if it's your first time, thank you very much. There's one lady that's travelled from 3 o'clock this morning on a coach. But what you'll find is that, I mean, these are overused words, so do bear with me, but you will feel a little more brave, a little more empowered, a little more courageous, because you can just turn to the person next to you and you can say, women don't have penises. It's absolute despicable abuse to pretend that children can change sex. Susie Green is a little bit of a monster. Helen Weberly deserves to go to jail. So these are things that often what we do in our day-to-day is someone will say to me, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, well, actually I run a women's rights campaign. Oh yeah, and how does that look? Well, I do t-shirts with the dictionary definition of woman. And then, and we've sold thousands to 1/4 of the countries in the known world. It's, and the point of that is it's the same textbook assault on women's rights all over the globe when it comes to this. They mutilate our language, they mutilate our children, they obliterate women's rights, and happily, I think there's a lot of women now who really can't avoid what is happening. Cervical cancer the other day, Macmillan, they decided to tell everyone that inclusive language was important when talking about cervical cancer, and prostate cancer is a man's thing. So it's, I'm sure we all recognise what's happening. Let me tell you about today. This is what happens. Try and keep it shorter and less waffly than me, but everyone is invited. There's no limit on what you want to speak about. This is a woman's place to speak. Men are invited, but please wait your turn. But it's just short, concise speeches are often better, and it really doesn't matter what you want to speak about. We don't need to agree to hear words. We don't need to think that what you're saying is 100% accurate to give you respect and allow you to speak. And that's what we're doing. We're reclaiming this actual public space as a place where women can freely speak about what the hell we like. So thank you very much. Who wants to speak? So I'll invite, when you come up, I need to give you one of these. I've got those to give out. So who would like to speak? Don't be shy. Do I need to pull you up?
I might need some help.
So please say who you are. We just got the... Shall I hold it or do you want to clip it on?
Yeah, clip it on, yeah.
There we go. I'm all right.
So hello everybody. I don't know how many people can hear me. This is the biggest gathering I think we've had. I was here last year when BLM marched past us, so this is huge and what a wonderful spot, and I'm so glad actually that circumstances made us move over here, because I think this is better. I think those of us that need to sit down can sit down, and we've got children, dogs. This is wonderful. The reason we're here, as some of you might know, is because a woman was stabbed over there last Sunday. Haytun Tash, who is a Christian preacher, she's smaller than me, obviously defenseless woman. She comes to Speaker's Corner every week of the year with her people from her church, and they speak with the Muslims over there. And so that's what happened last Sunday, and a rally has been called over there in protest of that stabbing. So we don't know what kind of people are going to come to that rally, and that's why we moved over here. And actually this has turned out for the best, because this is great over here. A month ago I wrote an article about Haytun for Uncommon Ground Media. I compared her and Kellie-Jay, and I called it the bravest women in Britain, because I think they are the bravest women in Britain. They are, in their different ways, they are standing up in the public square, unafraid. And Kelly puts herself in danger. She's been arrested. Haytun puts herself in danger over there. They're coming from different spheres of free speech, but free speech is free speech. It's for everybody, and we should be, you know, fighting for it, which we are fighting for it in our own field of activity. So I just want to say to everybody, thank you for the support you've all given me, because when I was cancelled, I knew nothing about this issue, and I've had to have a crash course, and you all helped me on that journey. Now what I usually do is I usually give a signed copy of my book to the people who've come the furthest, but it's ending up, it's always Scotland. It's always people from Scotland. So do we have somebody here who's our guest speaker, like our guest, special guest?
She's here yet.
Who have we got? Who's here? Who can we see anybody? Well, I'll tell you what, if we have a special guest speaker arrive, I'm going to present a copy of my book to them.
Okay, what's amazing.
Yeah.
Show us your book.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah, I'd better show it, yeah. So I wrote this book last year. It was published just before Christmas. It's the only cartoon review of 2020 by a radical feminist, and it's pro J.K. Rowling, and it's got lots of stuff in there that people would like. Still available on Amazon and everywhere else. So, okay.
We'll have the microphone. Oh, thank you so much. Would you like to speak? Can I clip you on?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Hi, everyone. Sorry for my English. I want to share my story with you. I lost my job. I had to resign my job in one of the most important charities worldwide, because I refer as a woman as a human adult female. So now I'm on my way to sue them to the employment tribunal. Thank you. And of course, you know that tribunal things are not cheap. So I'm set up the crowdfunding website. I hope you will hear from me. My name is Alicia, and I used to be sorry, I'm nervous. The team coordinator of women's rights, and I'm not anymore. So, and this is my journey. I cannot go like extremely public in everything, but I hope you will hear of me, and I hope you support this cause. Thank you very much.
What we can do.
Yeah, thank
Right,
you.
and I'll put it on. You can kind of be interviewed.
Thank you very much.
Oh, already crying. Bloody menopause. Who else would like to speak? Next.
Yeah.
Next. Yes. Hi, Maria.
Thanks.
Right. It's a bit kippy.
Right, okay, we go there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely.
Hello, I'm Paula. I spoke last month about the proposed online safety bill. I'm going to say a little bit more about it again today, because as Kellie-Jay has said, and as you all know, it's very difficult to speak the truth online. But if this online safety bill gets passed, it's going to become a whole lot worse. The UK government aims to make the United Kingdom the safest place in the world to go online. But there's a risk that in doing so, they'll only do it at the expense of making us blissfully unaware of real dangers in the real world. It is entirely possible under this bill that the live stream footage of Hatun Tash's attack last Sunday would have been blocked from appearing online, because under the proposed bill it's going to be entirely up to Ofcom and a select committee of so-called experts to decide what counts as online hate and what doesn't. Because the live stream involved violence, it's entirely possible it could have immediately been blocked. And the internet companies will have a very strong incentive to do so, because the bill proposes absolutely massive fines on them if they don't remove online hate within 24 hours. Now, why is this particularly important? The bill also contains, it recognises, or tries to pretend it recognises, the value of freedom of expression for journalism, but freedom of expression is only going to be protected for recognised news publishers only, and not for independent journalists or citizen journalists. So it's entirely possible that Hatun Tash's attack would never have been reported in the mainstream media if it weren't for the fact that there were people online who were posting it. The BBC had a very skimpy little article that didn't appear until hours later, and I strongly suspect that the only reason why they reported it at all was because of pressure. Now, meanwhile, in America, there were several channels who immediately reported the attack, because these are channels who know Hatun and know the backstory of what's been going on at Speaker's Corner for several years. So there were channels like Jay Smith from DCCI Ministries, David Wood from Act 17 Apologetics, and the Apostate Prophet. But again, it's entirely possible under the proposed bill that these videos would also have been blocked from the United Kingdom, because our online world is so safe. These people who know a lot about the backstory also corrected errors and omissions in the reporting by mainstream journalists. Can we leave it up to mainstream journalists to report the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? That's what I thought. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Next. Come on then. Sorry, ladies. Just. Who's wearing? You might have seen. People might not know who you are. Who are you?
No. Oh, yeah, would you clip it?
Yeah. Go on.
Hi all, I'm Marion Calder, from co-founder and director for Women Scotland. It's wonderful to be down in London, and it was so great. I can see faces that came up to support women last week in Glasgow in the Green. So I'm looking forward to catching up with various people. I've never been down to kind of Speaker's Corner before. This is the very first time that I've been down to even Hyde Park. So I'm glad that we've managed to create this kind of space so we can have these conversations about kind of women's rights. I would like every single one of you to really listen to the women that are here that will be speaking about free speech, because what we're seeing in Scotland is absolutely shocking. Do you know what I mean? Our hate crime legislation hasn't come into legislation quite as yet, is already having a huge chilling effect on women and males' rights, speaking out about there is only two sexes, that that we should be able to state this. We can be able to wear t-shirts that say women won't wished. So please be aware when there's any discussion about hate crime or hate speech about what this actually means and how this is very insidious, about how this can sneak in and affect just day-to-day kind of people's human rights, and you won't even be aware of it until it sneaks in, and then you realize that you cannot talk. There's subjects that you are not allowed to talk about. Do you know what I mean? But what I can say is just keep talking out about this. I look forward to meeting so many of you new faces. And on behalf of Scotland, women won't wish.
Maria? Can I pin you?
Hi everyone. Abuse and violence against feminists by trans activist thugs is getting worse. We've seen it recently in Melbourne, in Paris, in different cities in Spain, and most recently in Los Angeles. And you may be aware of a certain numbskull of a trans activist, a total imbecile, who, when he heard that Baroness Nicholson had been invited to speak here, suggested that someone stand behind her with a placard in what he called a peaceful protest. Well, he can say that in the full knowledge that if any of them did that, they wouldn't be pushed around. They wouldn't have their placard ripped up. They wouldn't have their hat and glasses grabbed from them and thrown away. And they wouldn't be punched in the face, because that's not our style. It's the style of their cult. On 26th of June this year, in some 20 cities around Spain, feminists protested draft legislation promoted by their government minister for equality, who is a handmaid extraordinaire, or extraordinaria, I should say, called Irene Montero, who wants to legislate in favour of gender self-ID for anyone over the age of 14. Also for banning psychotherapeutic approaches to dealing with gender dysphoria, because it's supposedly conversion therapy, and for strengthening so-called hate crime legislation like what they've got in Scotland. On YouTube, there are videos showing feminists in Madrid and Barcelona, and they are beautiful to watch. The women are so vocal and passionate, and although many said they were too frightened to attend, in Barcelona more than 300 women and some men gathered at midday in front of the City Hall, chanting and reading out their feminist manifesto. And in one of the videos, you can see how the police are struggling to hold back counter-protesters from entering the square. Local police had to call in the riot police, and 3 van loads of them turned up. It was apparently really frightening. And at 10 minutes to 1, the women were told by police that they couldn't hold these trans activists back any longer, couldn't guarantee their safety, and told them to disperse. Well done, pseudo-fascist thugs, you're now despised even more. Meanwhile, at another protest or the same protest in another city, Murcia, a young woman was physically attacked and hospitalized. The background to that story is that the LGBT Collective of Madrid holds an annual award ceremony for individuals who have made a positive contribution to the furtherance of the rights of gay and bisexual people, and for successfully promoting misogyny in the form of gender ideology. They don't put it quite like that, of course. You cannot hope to win one of these awards if you are courageous enough to stand up against male entitlement, to redefine what it means to be a woman, and to oppose the enshrining of the nonsense that is gender ID into law. But you might get a different prize. You might get one called El Premio Ladrillo. Ladrillo means brick. It's the Brick Award, and what a very apt symbol of a movement that has become so hateful and violent. The brick goes to the supposed transphobe of the year. Last year, it was given to feminist writer and novelist Lucía Echevarría. But what exactly did Lucía do to deserve this honour? Did she threaten, abuse or assault anyone? Did she treat anyone in the way that feminists in Spain and other places, including right here of course, are being treated by trans activist bullies? Of course not. What she did was express an opinion based on the truth and on her experience of what it is to be an actual woman. She opposes gender self-ID laws, and for that she gets all the hate that any woman brave enough to stand up to the bullies gets. Last December, Lucía tweeted, "I have been informed that I've just been awarded Transphobe of the Year," and Irene Montero, Minister for Equality, who chaired the awards ceremony, sat there applauding. Criticising a law with data is not transphobia, she said. Applauding when they organise a campaign to harass and demolish a woman is misogyny. And she goes on to say that she can't go out anymore, can't go out alone, can't go out at night. Her daughter is afraid to go out on the street. They're very ashamed, you absolute swine. The name of the young woman who was assaulted in Murcia on 26 June is Laura Strego, a high-profile feminist cartoonist who had drawn a cartoon inspired by the Brick Award given to Lucía and lampooning the minister Irene Montero. For that, and for daring to join women publicly standing up for their rights, she ended up in hospital. To Irene Montero, I would like to point out that there is nothing progressive or feminist in targeting a woman for having an opinion you don't like. Shame on you, handmaid. To you and to every other politician in the world, especially here in the UK, and everyone else who is kowtowing to gender ideology, this really shouldn't need saying, but there is nothing progressive about trying to intimidate women, resisting an ideology and legislation that hurts us. There's nothing reasonable or decent or humane about using violence against us. That's not going to make us change our minds or shut us up as you so desperately want. That's just going to make us more determined to keep resisting and keep fighting. And if I may borrow a phrase from another imbecile called Tara Wolff, you're no better than Fash. To our sisters in Spain, on behalf of your sisters and allies here in the UK, I'd like to say we love you, We applaud you. We are with you. Stay strong.
Sure, sorry. Thank you. Yeah, I can. There you go.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming. And I want to say just a little bit about bigotry. Because when I do speak out in the various communities that I'm in, including work, and I'm a boater, so in the boating community, the very first thing that I get accused of is being a bigot, right? And I'm sure many of you will have met that accusation yourselves. So I just want to think for a minute about what a bigot is. What is a bigot? My understanding of a bigot is that it's someone who's never questioned and is not open to questioning what they think, right? So they're not open to changing their minds. And I had to have a think about it and think, well, am I open to changing my mind? Am I actually prepared to question what I think? You know? And it's an interesting thing to consider. I invite you to consider it, because it's not simply a case of taking the opposite point of view. There's more to it than that, isn't there? And I suggested to the last woman that I had this argument with that, in fact, most of us feminists, I'd go so far as to say almost all of us feminists, have in fact changed our minds. Because speaking as a lifelong lesbian feminist, I was initially very accepting of the trans people in the community. I grew up with guys who regularly did drag and called themselves women's names and referred to each other as she, and, you know, believed, some of them, that they were born in the wrong body. So I kind of grew up accepting that, and I've changed my mind about it on the basis of more information, on the basis of looking at the wider picture and how this affects all of us in our society. And not to get too distracted, but the same can be said of prostitution. I had friends at school who got into prostitution, and I initially didn't see any problem with that, you know. And I've had to change my mind about it because of how it affects us as women, and also I would say men, across our wider society. So I think, I don't want to go on too long because I do tend to go on a bit, but I think it's important for us to challenge this, when people say you're a bigot. I don't think we should simply shut it down or sort of say, no, I'm not, or whatever, but to say, well, actually, I've changed my mind about this on the basis of further information. Because look, okay, here's the next bit. Most of the young, liberal, trendy women that I meet, I don't think they're evil. I don't think they're necessarily even handmaidens as such. They're just largely misinformed or ill-informed. They are completely unaware of the link with trans and pornography, sissy porn. Right, and before you go and investigate that, I urge you to reconsider. Because there's some stuff you just cannot unsee it, you know. But they're unaware of that. They're unaware of the deeper philosophical notions about how men and male supremacy define women, right? This was not my idea, but it was passed on to me. You know, in the beginning was the Word, right? And we are the fucking Word. Oh, shit. These men actually think that they created us, right? They think they're created through their notion of God. And of course, you know, the birth of a man who thinks he is God is not such a rare event. This comes from deep roots. It comes from postmodernism and contemporary philosophy as well. And some of us need to have the guts to follow Summer Brodribb and other women who have delved into that realm to bring us back some of the awful consequences and notions that they have. Some of us need to actually follow her and other women like that and unmask this, you know, as Mary Daly taught us to do, you know. We need to do that. As a radical feminist, I believe that we are at the hub
of all the different kinds of aspects of feminism. We've got feminist opinions on, as I've said, pornography, prostitution, the prostitution of women, and other sexual violence against women, about childcare, about all sorts of reproductive rights, which is a much bigger thing than just choice, right? Lots of different notions, including, of course, the definition of our ongoing sexuality and whatever that might mean for each and every woman here. So it's a big thing. But basically, we're here to confront the trans ideology, which is the latest backlash by the master and his allies. And so I'm really pleased to see you all here. And I just want to finish on this. You know, I may be wearing a weird fish t-shirt, but you know what? Human beings are not clownfish. Thank you.
Do you want to come and speak?
So much, darling. Thank you.
Here goes. Okay. Hi everybody, I hope you can hear me. My name is Lexi and I'm from Stop Surrogacy Now UK. It's a very small grassroots campaign which is focusing on surrogacy law reform in the UK. For those who are unsure of what a woman is, the fog of confusion seems to lift from their eyes when it comes to one thing: buying babies. From a well-known Guardian writer hunting for broody lesbians, to a trans couple who had a single mother of two from Belfast have a baby for them. When it comes to surrogacy, there is no new science. It's the same old science involving a man and a woman, because to reproduce you need sperm, eggs and a woman's body. And you need her whole body, because pregnancy takes its toll on a woman's entire body. Women are exploited for their baby making abilities in the US, the Ukraine, and now the UK Law Commission and the all-party parliamentary group on surrogacy seeks to make it more available here. Indeed. Language, as we know, is important because words matter. And in surrogacy, there is an untethering of language to reality as seen elsewhere. We hear the word surrogate, rarely followed is it by mother. The word mother is reduced to the medical gestational carrier, or twee, tummy mummy, or even a household appliance, she is an oven, or an extreme babysitter. The meaning of the word mother is lost and the woman herself rejects the role, but under UK law, if you have given birth, you are a mother. Expenses is how we refer to personal costs associated with work, but we're told surrogacy isn't work, it's altruistic, which is just as well really, because the hourly rate would be about £3 an hour. Compensation is another word used to divert from the truth. It's for recognition of loss, suffering or injury. Well, which is it then? Is it an altruistic gift or is it a loss? The aim of the APPG is to relax laws in the UK to remove the push factor which sends baby buyers overseas, conveniently ignoring that it doesn't remove the exploitative nature of surrogacy, it simply relocates it. Surrogacy is framed as a medical treatment for infertility, or in a wider context, the next civil rights movement, infertility equality, or reproductive rights, a phrase originally built around women's choices. Well, perhaps that's being hijacked too. Those who lobby for reform are the ones who benefit: surrogacy agencies, lawyers and baby buyers. And it will come as no surprise to many here today to hear that Stonewall have been influential from the beginning.
Women's groups were invited to participate in the they were not invited to participate in the consultation, and they were only joined as an afterthought. And there was one sole anti-surrogacy voice heard at the evidence sessions, and it was Julie Bindles. There were no surrogate-born adults. There were no surrogate-born adults at any of the evidence sessions, and no mothers who regret their surrogacy experiences. It is perhaps no surprise, as the echo chamber was already full. The APPG report on surrogacy confirms our concerns. The removal of the legal rights of the surrogate mother at birth, a key ask as they call it, taking us closer to the commercial model of the US and the Ukraine, reducing the age of women considered for surrogacy to 18 years old. The youngest UK surrogate mother was 21. She had triplets for strangers through an agency. It was Surrogacy UK, and they don't require women to have been mothers when they apply. So how can you provide informed consent if you have not been pregnant and experienced labour? 18 is the age of legal adulthood. So I was even more shocked to see the age of 16 being discussed in evidence sessions with the question of capacity assessment. Where else have we heard questions about what 16-year-olds can consent to? Can 16-year-olds be surrogate mothers? Well, I can answer that. The answer is no, and no is a complete sentence. In the proposals, there is no upper limit of surrogate mothers, no limit of surrogate babies, how many a woman can have, and no upper or lower age limits for commissioning parents. The last issue is the light touch assessment for commissioning parents. Adoption has a long and detailed process for good reason, including safeguarding, but it was noted in the evidence sessions by one that it would be paternalistic to apply stricter assessments, and families should be left to get on with it. Now, we're worried about what is happening here. We don't have a broad range of women's voices, and we know this has happened before in lawmaking, and it keeps happening, but we are stakeholders too. These are our laws, and we need to be heard. So let's raise up the voices of surrogate-born children and the mothers who gave birth to them. Let's call a mother a mother. We would be interested in hearing from anyone listening today, especially surrogate mothers and surrogate-born children. The draft bill is anticipated early next year. More can be found at stopsurrogacynow.uk.org. Blessed be the fruit. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh! There's always going to be something.
You put it where you want to put it. Put it a little further, otherwise apparently the voices are too loud on the...
Okay.
Wow.
Afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming along. I'm Jan from Object. We've been campaigning, thank you, since 2016 on sex clubs, surrogacy, prostitution, porn and transgenderism. All the systems which must be linked together, which povertise, sexually exploit and kill women at the expense of men. So we've been collaborating with the wonderful Surrogacy UK. You just heard Lexi speak just now. We were horrified of all the stuff that Lexi just told you, and we took a look at the Law Commission website. Well, the Law Commission has got values. They're very, very ethical. When they consult about changing the law, they consult widely. Can they consult widely without consulting any women? No. They are independent, but the government told them not to look at whether it was a good idea, just to look at how to do it. They are searching in their consultation, which is why they ask no questions about women at all. They are apparently genuine, fair, open and cost effective. They've wasted a ton of money on a consultation which, if we're ever going to move ahead with this, will have to be done again.
They're modern. Do we think it's modern to completely forget about women's rights? We have had the vote for quite a while now, and the whole consultation is not fit for purpose. We were so appalled that although we are a tiny unfunded organisation, we thought we'll do our own consultation. I'm sure some of you contributed to it. So we designed a consultation, oh, here's Elizabeth, a consultation using free software, sent it to loads of women's rights organisations and people who are eminent in the field, and got back lots of responses. In the consultation, we listed what we saw as about 50 problems with surrogacy, some of which Lexi talked about. There's a whole lot more. And surprise, surprise, 90% of the people who got back to us completely agreed with us. So we've written this up into a report, and we also learned about a whole load of other issues. I think it was 6 more issues that we hadn't thought of that people mentioned. So it's a whole disaster. When they talked to Stonewall, Stonewall only thought this issue affected gay men. Apparently lesbians can't be surrogates. They forgot about the lesbians. It affects the NHS. What about the babies who will be left behind when there's a problem with them? It affects social services, the children who won't be able to be adopted. I won't go on because it's a huge topic, but I'm going to end with a very, very sad quote from a child of surrogacy whose relationship with the parents who brought her up, foundered. And she said, "In my life, where my mum should have been, there was just a paycheck." And I think that says it all. Yeah. Thank you.
You want to tell people who you are? I'm going to put it a bit far away from your... Oh, nice.
Put on my bra strap. Okay. Hello everyone, I'm Shelley Charlesworth. I work with Transgender Trend. You may... Yes. Thanks. Stephanie Davis-Arai can't be here, but she says hello to everyone and she's with you in spirit. I just very briefly wanted to talk to you about conversion therapy. I know you all probably agree that a legal ban on conversion therapy for gender identity is a very bad idea. And I can tell you, I'm sure you all know, there is no evidence whatsoever that it is happening here and now in the UK. There may be some parents who are homophobic and want their child to adopt be cross-sex. That is conversion therapy, but this isn't what we're talking about. If a ban on conversion therapy for gender identity comes in, it will be so restricting on good therapists who want to have open, neutral conversations with children about their gender issues. I don't know whether you've seen the news today. It was in the Mail on Sunday. There are some good journalists out there. The Mail on Sunday reported the story of James Esses, who is a trainee therapist. He is 3/4 of the way through his degree, and he was a volunteer for Childline. In the last few months, he's lost both those positions. He has been thrown off his course because he is gender critical. He's a member of something called Thoughtful Therapists, which are a good group to follow if you don't already. And this morning he's launched a crowdfunder, and you'll find various links to it amongst the people you follow, I'm sure. But what I really want to say is that in September, the GEO is launching a public consultation on a legal ban on conversion therapy. And it's really important, if any of you have any professional standing, that you get in touch with them now and tell them your concerns about a legal ban on gender identity conversion therapy. And if you're not, but when the consultation comes out, I'd urge you all to participate and give a good submission to it. I think this will be so retrograde, and it will be self-ID via the back door for children, which, as you know, is part of what's got us into this problem, the terrible things that have happened to children at the Tavistock. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. So September, GEO consultation, don't forget.
Thank you. Can I just make a comment? I know it's a little bit frustrating if you can't hear some of the quieter speakers. It is online. It is being live streamed, so you will be able to catch up with them. Not everybody has a ranty fishwife type voice. Do you, Kate? Yes, Kate does. So I'll let her introduce herself. I'm going to put it quite low, if that's all right.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? And that's with my mask on. These are not for sale. However, it's very disappointing to see you're all wearing Poses t-shirts and none of you have got LGB Alliance. Yay! Woo! I've told off our designer. I've told her we need something as good as the brilliant, brilliant slogan that has conquered the world. I congratulate Posey for what she's done with that phrase. It's been monumental. I want to say something about meetings. Meetings are good. This meeting is fabulous. Last week we had a meeting in Glasgow. We're just planning a meeting in Cardiff. Why are we planning a meeting in Cardiff? Because the Welsh Government is the first government in the United Kingdom to decide to put gender identity ideology forward as the full plan for LGBTQ plus people in that country. And as we say in Scotland, women won't wisht. So to all the Welsh people here, think up your equivalent, because we are not standing for this plan. We were not able to contribute to the plan at all, despite writing to the First Minister, to Jane Hutt, to many others, but they would not let LGB Alliance Cymru take part in the plan for LGBTQ plus people because they're not very inclusive. They've also, in publishing their plan, warned us that they may ignore all our contributions if they are transphobic. Given that we know that saying woman, adult, human, female is transphobic, we have a problem. So I encourage you to support our sisters and brothers in Wales. LGB people will not stand for this, so come to our meeting in Cardiff, probably in September. We're going to get cracking on that very soon. I'd like to mention two people, Victoria and Sadie Hart. Where are you? There they are. Woo! I met Victoria along with a wonderful group of completely bonkers Scottish women last week in Glasgow. And Victoria and Sadie have had a long, boring train journey to come down here. And Sadie took the trouble to bring me my own slate. Thank you. Thank you. We will support Scottish women and we will support Welsh women. We are all together in this battle. And I want to just say, women are everywhere and lesbians are everywhere. So watch out, United Kingdom. Now, I do want to say that despite the warnings of the Welsh Government that they will ignore everything we say that is based on biological reality or same-sex sexual orientation, we should put in our submissions to their hideous document. It is awful from start to finish. So please put in your responses, as many as possible. Consider it as important as your responses to the GRA consultation. Wales and Scotland are pushing hard to show up the government at Westminster as being old-fashioned, old hat, not moving with the times. On the contrary, we need to show them that they are being deeply homophobic and deeply regressive in the plans they're putting forward. They are ignoring women, they are ignoring LG people, and we will not wisht, or whatever that is, in Welsh. I should say that I'm from LGB Alliance. I was thrilled when somebody called Katie. Where are you, Katie? There she is, striped shirt at the back there. I was thrilled as I strolled in, trying to draw attention to myself. She rushed up to me and said, "May I have a selfie?" "Yes," I said. "Who do you think I am?" She said, "Well, you're Bevel Kate." And it's true, I am Bevel Kate. I'll let you guess which one. Bev is in Amsterdam today, but never mind, she's with us in spirit. I want to thank every single one of you here for supporting us. LGB Alliance has fought for 2 years simply to exist. There are many volunteers here. I'm looking straight at Mary in front of me. I know Alex is here. I know Shelley is here. I know Karen is here. I want to thank every single one of you who've supported us in any way whatsoever. It has been more or less a war of attrition. Our opponents have wanted to destroy us from day one. They're now taking us to court to try to have our charitable status removed. That hearing is coming up soon, and we will keep you posted. But let me say, it's not going to happen. We are going to be a charity. We have a dramatic plan which will include helplines for LGB young people. It will include a studio to make videos, films, music, any kind of art to tell young people it is not only good to be gay, it's great to be gay, and it's fabulous to be a lesbian. So we're going to get that. We're going to take over social media. We're going to take over social media. We're going to take it back from all the people who are lying to our young people today and telling them that if they are gender non-conforming, they are trans. Can I tell you, they are not. So we will be fighting that battle. Finally, for anyone who hasn't heard, the first all-singing, all-dancing, public LGB Alliance conference will be at a fantastic venue in central London on the 21st of October. Be there or be square. Thank you very much.
Come on. I'm going to pin it to your bag actually, so if you stand here so that people can see you. All right, face this way. That's
Okay.
it. That's it. And you come and stand right next to your cousin. Tell us what your name is.
My name is Sadie, and my name is Stella. And we just want to say, women don't get a waste. All right, yeah.
Well done. That was great.
Stella and Sadie. All right, here we go. Oh, I haven't read anything. Hi everyone! Hi! So I do a podcast called Women's Women View with Katie and Chloe and Iris. Please watch every Thursday. We record it comes out every Friday, doesn't it? Every Friday on YouTube. I was robbed in March by Antifa for waving an adult human female flag. Okay, 4 of them were men. This is in Portsmouth. They came running up and they robbed me. They dragged me about. I couldn't move for a week. This is what happens to women who describe ourselves. We are robbed, we are assaulted by men. I meet Stella and Sadie today. I have had the police at my door this week because I told a man that little girls have the right to say no to him. Yeah. You have the right to say no to men in your space. Yes. Excuse me. Women weren't weeshed. Little girls weren't weeshed. Yeah. And this is what we fight for. Our daughters have the right to say no to men in their female-only space, and we won't stop. and they give me hope. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can I pin it? Can I sort of pin it away? Because apparently it's.
All right. Oh, reading glasses. All right. Hi, everybody. A lot of you know me from Facebook, from the photography, but in a previous life, I was a senior domestic violence worker. I specialised with women and children escaping abuse, severe abuse. I worked with them mostly through art and education to support themselves as they rebuilt their lives and their damaged relationship with their children. I know firsthand the havoc abusive men can wreak. I've seen children drop to the floor and scurry like beetles under the nearest table at the mere sound of a man's voice. Children hitting and emulating sex with dolls because they've seen their mothers raped and abused. I've seen so many women having panic attacks when they hear even slightly raised male voices, and men should not be allowed in women's safe spaces, ever. It's more important than ever to support the shelters who continue to centre women despite the push to be progressive. The same progression that in 2021 means women and girls being coerced, forced, threatened and gaslit into using terms like male-bodied, like trans women, like she and her when talking about men. The progression that means breaking down safeguards for women and children, that means being pushed down a road of lifelong infertility, sterilisation, lies and drug dependency. The same progression that means allowing men in women's face into the changing rooms of our teenage girls. Progression in 2021 means being charged with a hate crime for stating the truth. It means not allowing the word woman for people who menstruate. It means not allowing the word woman for people with the cervix, for the very people who gave birth to every single human being on this planet. Progression is a school firing a female teacher for standing up for girls. It means allowing men into the spaces of traumatised women. Progression, it seems, is using the word woman when we talk about men. My 12-year-old son was Yoda and Spider-Man between the ages of 5 and 6 for a long time. And if I told him he literally could have been Spider-Man or Yoda, he would have believed me, because I am his responsible adult. And non-gender conforming children believe their parents when they literally tell them they can change sex. Right. To all of the progressives pushing this agenda, to those people who are literally holding the door open to a homophobic, misogynistic, paedophile's paradise, we see you. Many women here and across the world are walking around wearing our own little billboards defending women's rights. We wear these t-shirts because we don't want to be on a ward in a vulnerable state with a man pretending to be a woman in the bed next to ours. We wear them for all the young girls having their breasts and uterus removed by unscrupulous surgeons. We wear them for the future of women's sports, for all the children being sold a horrifying lie. We wear them for women's rights. We wear them for our daughters and our granddaughters, and we wear them for all the women and children in shelters. We wear them because men should not be in women's prisons, women's sports or any women's spaces. We wear them because we are the women who refuse to lie, the women who refuse to remain silent, the women who refuse to be gaslit. We are the women who are born, not worn. We're all here today because of ordinary women doing extraordinary things. This is living grassroots women's activism in action, and we can all play our part no matter how big or small. Every single act counts. We owe it to the women, past, present and future, to wear a t-shirt, a badge, to put a sneaky sticker on your local lamppost, to write to our MPs, to change your Bluetooth name, to speak out, to tweet, to photograph, to share, to make a contribution, to do whatever we can. We owe it to ourselves.
Run over. Can I have my...
Oh, yes.
Thanks. Otherwise you'll go off. Say something terrible about someone. No, but yes. I'm going to pin it quite far away from your face, if that's all right. Yeah. Apparently it's distorted.
Hello everybody! We've got a sunshine today! Wow, wicked! So they haven't brought the cloud seeded them over us today, the government, because I believe that we're all in danger from this whole big government. We're not being run by our governments anymore. Okay, what's happening is global. So I just want to say something that just helicopters out. Why are they pushing? Why have they co-opted the whole gay rights thing? What's going on with that? And I'd just like to say something that I think it might be to do with, and not everyone's got onto this. It's called transhumanism, right? It's called transhumanism, and the reason why they want to divide everybody, right, look at BLM, Antifa, they're all backed by George Soros. It's to make the divide between black and white. Now they've co-opted the gay movement, and people that legitimately find that they're not living in the right body, good for them to make the decision that's right for them, and I support them in every way. But to bring it down to kids being kind of pushed towards this. I saw a mum a while ago, I said, how's your daughter? Oh, well, she identifies as a boy now, so it's a they. And we're talking about 15-year-old. And I was kind of like, that never happened in my day. What's going on with this? You know? And the transhumanism thing, I just want to warn you, this mRNA, DNA altering experimental treatment that across the world, they want every single person in the world to take this mRNA treatment. They are calling it a vaccine, but it's not. It's a DNA altering treatment. And guess what? There's a Supreme Court ruling in America done in 2013. So they've planned all this, where if your DNA is altered, you are no longer human. So beware. The transhumanist thing, have a look into that. There's a very good person called William Henry on Gaia TV who talks, has got some really interesting talks into transhumanism. That's what got me onto it. And now I've started to look into the patent stuff that's going on around the whole corona. Dr. David Martin is a good one to look at on that one. So that's really, I just wanted to share that because I'm bisexual, and I used to be in the London Bi Women's group in the 90s, okay? And then what really destroyed our group, to be honest, was some kind of fairly obviously not women started to come to this women's space, okay? Now, first of all, we were okay because we were in drill hall at some point, and they had their policy, their door policy, and then we ended up going into a new venue, the Vesper Lounge, opposite First Out. It's gone now, on St Giles's High Street. And then some women were getting quite uncomfortable because at one time a guy, very obvious guy, wasn't even, and you know, beard, everything, and we were in a women only space, so that put the cat among the pigeons. So I've kind of seen this issue arising, you know, from a long time ago, and it was, we ended up having to do a vote actually, and it was very uncomfortable, and it really did split the group. So it's a tough one. In the end, there was a kind of policy that it was post-operative women that could come along or whatever, but it's kind of disappeared now. But I think there's a real, you know, we have to respect that women only spaces are important. I don't really want to go to the women's pond, and you know, I want to be amongst women, you know, and it's not to be horrible to anyone, but that's just it, isn't it? But look at the transhumanists, that's why they're using the gay agenda. And I just want to make one more point, because this really disturbed me. I went onto the NHS website to do the digital opt-out, because they're selling all our, they want to sell all your medical things to the highest bidder. So try and opt out, everybody. But this was concerning, and I went to my local surgery and I said, do you know, on your website, they refer to young people, 13-year-olds, as young adults. I have a 13-year-old. I said, my daughter is not a young adult. I said, where does that put her in terms of consent? Now, this is to do with them wanting to get as many people jabbed as possible to push them into the transhumanist world and also depopulate. Have no, do not have any, if you want to look at the yellow card system, the MHRA, you will know that people are dying from taking this shit. Okay, it's not helping people. Okay, but they want young people who are even not in any danger. They're not 80, okay? So if they're a young adult at 13, guess what? In the school can start having a say. Now, consent for what? Consent for changing their gender, consent for having sex with, you know, it's all very dodgy ground, and I'm sure you all know that. So that's all I wanted to say. But please, if you didn't know that about the referring to young adults as 13, go to your local surgery and say something, because they sent me a letter back saying, we hear your concern, this isn't, our surgery hasn't had anything to do with this, but if we get more complaints from people, we will raise it at a higher level. So I just want to put that one out there, and thank you very much for listening. Beautiful people.
Can I take that? Sorry to be a bit of a mother, but I'm really happy that you're having conversations, but could we just try and keep them really quiet, because some people are coming here to speak and they do, other people want to hear them, and I feel that it's getting a bit too many conversations, and so we... Could you just shut up? Okay, it's just some people come to speak. I think I might have just turned off my microphone. Some people come to speak, they've never spoken before. I think we could just do them a bit of courtesy and just listen. If you want to have a quiet conversation, really, really quiet and short. Right, who else would like to speak? Oh, thanks. Yes. Do you want... Is that all right? This lady's, yeah. Oh, you're bringing a very persuasive prop.
I got daughter.
Oh, she's laughing.
She did.
Can I pin it to your bag? Is that all right?
Yes.
So it's a bit lower than... Thank you. Hi.
Right, I'm going to try and be brief. Can everyone hear me? Yes. So we are the Trixie Girls, youngest member here. I'm not prepared to speak, so I hope I'm going to get everything right. So we are named after my great-grandmother, who in 1893 read Millicent Fawcett's Declaration for Suffrage and joined her suffragist movement and played a very active role in Derby. These colours have always been historic to me. I know they're our colours, but I have never felt the ownership that I feel now for them. We want to start a campaign called Count Me In. We are extremely angry about what has happened to Marion, and we would like people to decorate prominent statues such as Millicent Fawcett, which we're going to do later. This one is intended for Wollstonecraft. If anybody can take it to the statue and pin it on, I would be very grateful. But importantly, if you do this, we're going to do Alice Hawkins in Leicester. You need to post it and get the picture out there. So you need to send it to Marion. You need to send it to your MP. You need to send it to the Spectator and the Times, who just might publish it. But you also need to, importantly, send it to the SNP and Nicola Sturgeon. We are roping in the old feminists with their statues to say, count me in, because I'm telling you, these women would turn in their graves if they could see what is happening now. So you could pick your statue. You've still got Pankhurst, you've still got Seacole. You could go and do the same statue again, probably better than us. But make sure you tweet this to Nicola, and don't forget the ribbons, seeing as this is half the problem for Marion. I don't think the irony should be lost on her. We are the Trixie Girls. Our gobs won't stop, and that's our promise, and neither should yours.
Well done. Thank you. Okay. Oh, sorry. The lady behind just got. Sorry, that's so awkward. You, no, you. Would you like to go next after this lady?
Oh, I'm alright either way.
You. Sorry. And then after.
What were you?
I'm going to pin it slightly away because otherwise it gets distorted. Okay, thank you.
Hi everyone, hope you can hear me. I'm from Fair Cop. We're a campaign group dedicated to stopping non-crime hate incidents. 200,000 non-crime hate incidents recorded by the police. 200,000 so far. No evidence is needed of hate. No evidence is needed of an incident. In fact, no evidence is needed at all. All that is needed is for someone somewhere to decide that you have offended them by insisting that humans cannot change sex. With access to a smartphone, you can log into True Vision, a police portal where you can make a report and in 3 minutes and 45 seconds ruin someone's reputation for the next 6 years. In October 2020, possibly buoyed up by their victory against Fair Cop at the High Court, the College of Policing extended its hate guidance into schools. Now, any child or parent or teacher who shows support for single-sex spaces, single-sex sports, or in any way shows resistance to the gender ideology run the risk of being branded a hater. Imagine a 14-year-old carrying that hate tag into their first job interview at 18 or 19 or 20. Will it be disclosed on a DBS check? Who knows? It might not. It depends how badly Stonewall points are needed by whoever the chief constable happens to be at the time. As parents and grandparents, aunts and allies, we cannot afford to take the risk. We cannot be frozen by fear as the police threaten to bring a rainbow-coloured wrecking ball to our children's futures. Our children, nieces, nephews need to enter adulthood without being marked by the police. Fair Cop and its small army of 18,000 supporters will continue to do everything it can to bring an end to this Stonewall tide of tyranny that is swamping and damaging every level of our proud police service. We defeated Humberside in 2020. With a bit of luck, 2021 will be the year we defeat the ridiculous College of Policing and once and for all put an end to this nonsense. And Fair Cop, together with an army of angry women and some men, will hold to account the next police force that dares to threaten us or our children for stating the truth that women have vaginas and lesbians don't have penises. Our message to the police is simple. Learn biology. Better still, learn some law and then uphold it. We want Stonewall out of the College of Policing. We want Stonewall out of all our police forces. Stonewall out. Fair Cop demand neutral, unpolitical policing. Policing without fear or favour. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. There was like, you? No. I'm going to pin it on you just to the side, otherwise it gets a bit distorted.
All right, thank you. I didn't mean to say anything anyway. Hey, sorry. A bit nervous, I must say. Well, thank you so much. It's lovely to see so many women and men supporting and the children. I'm here as an individual, a black woman, a woman concerned about what's actually taking place across the world, because this disease is infecting every part of our worldwide society. I'm asking every woman to make sure that their politicians are accountable to the BS that's actually currently taking place. I apologize for the language. What I'm here is, I am from the Green Party, meaning I'm the ones that are actually holding everything together. It's very hard because there is takeover of the party systems in our country and abroad. I'm actually making a point that everyone is being impacted by this trans ideology. It's actually infected the NGOs, it's infected the aid sector, meaning all this trans ideologies everywhere. So please, please, whatever you do, hold politicians to account, because they don't think women will hold them to account. You know, they've taken us all for granted. Yesterday I was told, oh, the leader is leaving and you all need to actually be talking nicely to each other. I'm done talking nice. What we need to make sure happens is that we inform, we educate, we organize, we fight back. Yes. And only women, I'm sorry men, only women know how to do this stuff. We've done it before, we've always done it. We hold all the parties everywhere where you look. The women are the activists on the ground. They're the ones that are doing all the hard work, but they don't get the outcome for it. So what I'm saying to you today is thank you for coming out here. Thank God that actually the bloody COVID, we've been let out, like freedom. We can meet in person. It's lovely to see everybody that I've seen in other spaces, in the organized spaces everywhere else. But I need us to actually mobilize. And the mobility is for everywhere. So we're looking at forming, I mean, a union is actually like an idea, but if the laws are preventing us to do that, we will look to create a mutual society where women will be protected, where you would pay a fee, unfortunately, but that fee will be towards protecting your rights from work, from being associated with anything that anybody can say, well, this is a hate crime, or you can't actually put that there. You know, we have to uphold human rights. This is our right. You know, I'm not sure why everybody's so quiet about human rights. You know, we've been infiltrated, we've been too comfortable in the West. Well, I'm involved in that, but you know what? We have now discovered what's happening. We ought to stand up and say no to the BS. So thank you, everybody. Lovely seeing you all here. I will actually go and meet everybody that I've seen online. Thank you so much. Sorry, I didn't want.
That's great. Thank you very much indeed. You're going to come and speak, Claire? I would. I'm going to put it to the side because it's otherwise it distorts this little microphone. Is that all right?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Thank you.
I didn't understand what the story was.
Wow, this is my first journey out in about 10 months, so I'm feeling a little bit weirded. I am a number of things. I am firstly the first recipient, or the recipient of the first explicit honour, God help me, for lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender people. That's quite a burden these days. I started being kind and supportive to trans women in 1979. That's 40 years ago. I was 14, I remember it vividly, and I wasn't to realise I was a lesbian for another 5 years. So, and I also have transgender friends in Kazakhstan. I have helped transgender people, and it has been my honour to do so, across Central and Eastern Europe. But as the lovely article the other day said, LGBT veteran says, we've had enough of all this, and that mentioning my petition to the UK Parliament to record sex, not only at the police level, not only at the court level, but at the prisons, probation and DBS level. So I hope we are very close to the 10,000 to get the reply. We've got 5 more months to get it to 100,000. And I hope I can count on all of you to be sharing it and retweeting it and doing your worst to get it out everywhere. I have 2 portraits with me. One of the Stormy Delavery. And we lesbians are at the sharpest of edges. I worked for Stonewall UK. Stonewall UK, not Stonewall. They were trans-bombed since 2015, and that doesn't undo the good work they did before. However, they are not Stonewall, as in the Stonewall Inn and the Stonewall riots on the night of the 27th, 28th of June 1969. So I make another plea to you, for all the LGB youngsters who are getting in touch with me and saying, Claire, thank you for saying that. Claire, thank you. I can feel proud to be a lesbian again. I plead with you all, just add those 2 little letters to honour the lesbian who may or may not have been Stormy Delavery. I've done all the academic search. Nod, nod, wink, wink. And the lesbian resistance started inside the Stonewall Inn in New York City in 1969, which has nothing, I am here to tell you, to do with the current incarnation of the trans-bombed Stonewall UK. I beg you, I urge you, I appeal to you, always add UK. Do not conflate them with the real Stonewall. Do not give them a greater importance than they deserve. The other portrait reflects the fact I am a Quaker. I am a rape survivor. I did Me Too and rape in schools 20 years before social media or hashtags. And I did it by myself. Therefore, the primary weapon of violence used against women and girls, female for the avoidance of doubt, is of crucial importance. This is Elizabeth Fry, our beloved foremother. You will know that as a Quaker, I cannot hold this here. I cannot have this recorded unless I am absolutely sure. Number 1, 1823, 1st of January, by the campaigning of this woman and John Howard and other penal reformers like them, we got sex-segregated prisons! also got female warders for female prisoners. But dear Elizabeth Fry and dear John Howard of blessed memory, I have read through all of their journals. I'm autistic, remember? It is explicit in all the Quaker journals of that time that they were being protected from sexual exploitation, not only by the male prisoners, but by the male warders and guards as well. The reason we have sex-segregated prisons is to prevent the rape of female prisoners. As I said, I can't say that lightly, but we are at the point where I can release 2.5 years of engineering analysis, no rhetoric, just engineering analysis. Sex-segregated-prisons.info. For 20 years, the MOJ records that 99% of all sexual offenders are male.
Yes.
I can now, with hand on heart, hand on Elizabeth Fry's heart, she is in heaven this very day kicking my ass. I can tell you that I can only find one sexually offending trans man. So I taught 12-year-olds maths. 100 minus 1, what is it? 99%. So we can complete the sentence. 99% of all sexual offenders, England and Wales, 2001 to 20. The statistical sentences are boring, but they make all the difference. We can complete that sentence. The notable absence of sexually offending trans men means that we can complete that sentence and say, regardless of gender identity. You can now say that with my say-so, and this is kind of, I hadn't intended it that way, but this is the launch of the sex-segregated-prisons.info, the simple digestion of the facts that the MOJ should be doing already, and they say they're sorry about rape, so why have they left vital statistics for the protection of women and girls in the darkest recesses of their databases, such that only an autistic, pedantic, Quaker, lesbian of the British Empire can find them. I was a female inmate. I served 3 short sentences in HMP Holloway. I can say that since the summer of 2018, those women have been on my heart every single day. This is wrong, wrong, wrong. I cannot get NHS hospital care. I cannot use my local rape crisis network. When is this going to be serious enough? Very much, thank you. Okay.
Next. Anyone else like to speak? Anyone else? Anyone else? Can't see anyone else? Hi, my love. Wow, I'm just gonna. Otherwise, it's too distorted, apparently.
Yeah, it's okay.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Menno, and what's been happening to women for quite a while now is now happening to gay men. So we're losing the ability to simply say that we're male homosexuals. This is now considered to be transphobic. We can now no longer say, hey, I'm a gay guy. That means I like dick. Transphobic. There's a very, at the moment, successful rapper, singer, songwriter called Lil Nas X. who's absolutely killing it in the charts. And he's a gay man. He went on Twitter last week and said, "Hey, I like dick." And the abuse came, maybe not as violent as if a lesbian would have said, "I like pussy," but it came in nonetheless. And it's another sign of how this is an all-out attack on the reality of our sex bodies. Anything that we say that relates to our sex bodies, like a man having a dick and a woman having a pussy. I know it says children here, right? Okay, it's a biology lesson. So they don't want to hear it. This is bad. Sorry? Licorice? Okay, well, I don't know much about them, so I don't know the words to use for them.
Our little sheaves! Our little sheaves!
Okay, the Lady Gardens. As lovely as they were, I don't want to go and have a walk in one. We're laughing, obviously, but this is very serious. Because if I cannot, like when so-called trans men online say to me, "I'm a man, I am more of a man than you are. You know, what makes you a man?" Suddenly I have to justify why I'm a man. This is just rehashing the homophobia from the old days. But now it's kind of worse, because now they're saying that you don't have to be a woman, you don't have to be a man to be a gay man. You don't have to be a woman to be a lesbian. So it's not just that they're looking down on same-sex attraction, is they're completely erasing it. And they're shaming us for it all over again. Yes. They're shaming us as so-called genital fetishists. Which is insane.
They've got the fetish.
Well, you could ask, the people having surgery on their genitals, maybe they're the ones with the issues, but look, they come at those decisions for a variety of reasons, and that has a lot to do with the culture that we live in and what we're told we can do as men and as women, and we can and cannot do. It's like this whole toxic cultural soup, and some people, they lose their way in that. The other thing that concerns me is that, okay, we're losing the language, we're losing spaces. So a bunch of lesbians wanted to have an event in Tasmania. They don't want penises there. And they're now told that they'd be discriminating and breaking the law if they go ahead with that. Similarly, a bunch of gay men in Australia wanted to have a gay men only event. And they were told by a local trans man that they must include trans men there. They must include facilities for trans men to put their sanitary towels. Whoa. A gay men event where we need to have sanitary disposal units? This is insane. And the other thing is that we're losing guys. And this is something that us as male homosexuals need to look at. We're seeing these young kids. I could have been them today. That could have been me today. If I was younger, if I was a 12-year-old today, I'd be on that train. I have no doubt about it. But that option wasn't available. You live through stuff and you come to terms with who you are, which includes what your body is. Our body is not the opposite of what we are as a person. We are our bodies, and our bodies are us. And I'm not a man because I have a dick. I have a dick because I'm a man. Every time they throw that shit at you, you just turn it upside down, because that's all you gotta do. Just turn it upside down. So the men we're losing are the ones who are now caught up in this, thinking, "Oh, I'm really a woman. I feel like a woman," and they're going through these procedures, and then they think they found themselves. What I see is we've lost them. These are the lost men, and we need to be there for them at whatever point they are in their journey, to show that it's perfectly okay to be a man and to not be an alpha male or a particular masculine bloke, or it's okay to be a guy with a high voice. It's okay to flail your arms around like I always do, but that's just my inner windmill. I don't know. It's okay. This is what we need to do, is to widen that bandwidth of what is okay for a man to be, because that's where all this shit is coming from. If it was okay. Oh, sorry, I'm going on a bit. Anyways, it's okay to be any kind of man. Now I'm going to say something that not all gay men agree with. I think as a gay men community, we also need to take some responsibility for this, because there's still from gay guys to other gay guys, plenty of shaming going on. Don't act so camp, you're showing us all up, you're giving us all a bad name. Keep it down a bit. This is also coming from within our own gay community. But it's natural, because for so long we've been told you can't be this or that, so plenty of them are overcompensating. Being a man! Did I just do that well? Whoa, I can feel that testosterone surging through my veins. Okay. So, just to wrap it up, I'm a male homosexual. I'm using that. I've never used that word, or I always used to say I'm a gay man. No, I'm a male homosexual, and I like dick, and I'm not gonna deny my sexual orientation for somebody else's validation. We're not going back in that closet. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you very much. Well done. Thank you. Yeah. Can I pin it? Yeah. Thank you very much.
I haven't prepared a speech. I just want to say thank you to Posey and all the other amazing people, women, groups. I want to say thanks to the LGB Alliance, to Transgender Trend. I can't remember all the names of the groups. I can remember a few, but I'm not going to say those. And just thank you so much. Look at how many people are here. Hey, give yourselves a round of applause.
Thank you. Absolutely. Oh, let me just, it's got to be quite low, otherwise it, hold it. Can you hold it? No, I'll put it here, I'm so sorry, thank you.
Thank you. Hi everyone. I just want to say a big thank you to Flo Shirley on Twitter. Yes. Because a lot of us are here today because she organised the groups in Scotland. It's spread down into the rest of the UK now. And thank you all for coming. We need to get together to stay together. So connecting is really important, and this is a really good first step for a lot of us that are used to just creeping along on our own, doing a bit of clapping and agreeing and disappearing again. The time has come, I think, where we all need to be really doing stuff. And if we do it together, it's easier and it's more potent. So let's move forward.
Thank you. Do you want to speak?
No, but with Essex Resistance.
Go on then. Where can I pin it on
sure
your...
what works
Actually,
best.
if you're going to wear that, if I can pin it on there. Is that, sorry.
Yep, that's fine. Okay. Just wanted to quickly touch on what she just said. We have started Essex Resistors over here. I've got another Cambridge and Hertfordshire group going if anyone wants to join that. I also did just want to say I've been thinking, I'm in an R-ring. Last weekend I got my first death threats for saying that an adult human female is a woman and that a man cannot be a woman. They wanted to see if this witch would burn. I would just like to say that this witch doesn't burn. Thank you.
Where did you stick that? There.
Got it?
Anyone else? Anyone else? Yes, you. Literally just had that conversation. Sorry about that. It's all right. There you go, my dear.
Hi guys, I'm Phoebe from the Cambridge Radical Feminist Network. I don't want to talk about trans stuff today. I want to talk about another thing which I think is an existential threat to women's rights, and that's prostitution, sex work and pornography. Because I don't think we have enough of that conversation, and I think it's really important, as well as the trans stuff. The trans women and sex workers' work tend to go together. We're not only called TERFs, we're called SWERFs as well. I was dismayed to see that the Labour Party had signed an open letter against the Nordic model, which is an approach to prostitution which decriminalises those who are prostituted, but it provides support services to help them exit prostitution, and it makes, crucially, buying sex a criminal offence. So it criminalises the pimps and the johns, not the women that partake in it. in order to reduce the demand that drives the global sex trade, ultimately. It's been adopted in Norway, Sweden, Iceland, Canada, France, Northern Ireland and Israel to varying degrees of success. And they deeply dishonestly mischaracterize the Nordic model as an approach which simply introduces more criminalization and consequently exacerbates violence and harm against those who are prostituted. This just isn't the case. They also said it's widely opposed by sex workers. I think what they actually mean by that is it's widely opposed by university students who might have an OnlyFans account. They do their PhD in prostitution, they go to a strip club once and they say that they're a sex worker. This is not the reality for the majority of prostituted women who are some of the most marginalized and victimized in our society, and they need our help and not I think sometimes people within the radical feminist movement can almost sort of blame the women that enter prostitution, and that's not the way that we need to go either. The Nordic model helps victims of trafficking, as opposed to what the letter says. Migrant women are at particular risk of human sex trafficking. So the answer to this is not to decriminalise buyers of sex, but to improve the conditions for migrant women and asylum seekers, making sure that they can seek help without risk of deportation, detainment or fear. Sorry to sound like a raging lefty, but I rather am. So this includes seeking prosecution for those who are violent towards sex workers. This isn't something that can be solved by the Nordic model alone, but we can support measures for migrant women, asylum seekers and other women that are forced to enter prostitution. They also said that the Nordic model increases danger for sex workers. Again, this isn't true. Ireland and France are particular examples of where full decriminalisation has led to disastrous consequences for women. We should improve the implementation of the Nordic model in the countries, but particularly with police response lobbying for reform, learning from places where it's been implemented properly with success, rather than just rejecting the Nordic model out of hand and leaving prostituted women with nothing. The Nordic model does not criminalise sex workers. Prostitution is inherently unsafe for the women that do it, and it's really important that we recognise this. And the last thing, I said I wasn't going to mention trans, but I am. If these sex worker work people gave a single shit, sorry for my language, about the lives of trans women, particularly black trans women in countries like Mexico, where the majority, we hear all the time, trans women are more likely to be murdered, they're more likely to be victims of violence. This is true in some countries. The reason for that is that a lot of them are forced into sex work. So if they actually gave a single shit about trans lives rather than just virtue signalling, they would campaign for the criminalisation of people that buy sex. That's all I've got to say. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Phoebe. Thank you. So sorry. I've been double vaccinated. I've got a negative PCR test. Just a cough. Right. Anybody else want to speak? Speak now or forever. Hold your peace or peas. Right. So we started this quite some time ago, reclaiming the shh things. Oh, you want to speak? Do you want to speak? Yes.
Something to say.
Right, I'm going to pin it, but I'm going to pin it over here so it's not too close to your mouth, right?
Hi everyone. So my name's Louise. So I probably joined this movement maybe about 5 years ago or something. My mum was involved back in the day, and what I'd really like to say is that please don't take this as a criticism at all. Like, I think it's amazing every time I come, the group gets bigger, there's more and more women and people involved. That's brilliant. All I would like to say is that I come here, obviously I like hearing people talk, but there's only so much stuff I can take in. There's only so much stuff I can process and emotionally deal with. And what I would really like to see as part of this movement is just a space like this picnic vibe, like something like that, where just women can just hang out and chill. And I would actually really like to look into if through a subscription if we could rent a space or something like that. So if you're interested, come and give me a shout. It's something I'm serious about. I think it's something we need, where, you know, I've met so many wonderful, talented, skilled women, and I want to learn from them, want to grow with them. So if that's something that you're involved in, want to be involved in or interested in, please come and talk to me, because it's not something, you know, I obviously want other people's input. I don't want to do just by myself. I want it to be a reflection of, you know, all of the people here. So yeah, if you're interested, come and give me a shout. And yeah, much love, big love. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry about that. I thought we had a funny thing earlier where we were telling people. Okay. Anyone else? I promise I won't tell you off if you put your hand up. Okay, so we started this. It was the idea of Venice. Alan, you may know her. And she sort of came through here and saw it was such a brilliant, vibrant place. Oh, it's going to rain. So the sun shone for women's rights today, which is good. And what it's become and what it's growing is what we always thought it might, which is just more people coming every week, more people feeling that they can speak, therefore taking that bravery and that courage into other places in their lives. I think it's really vital, wherever you live, try and meet, try and have conversations with people that don't make you feel like you can't speak or you have to self-censor. And actually, even the people that do make you feel like that, just be a little bit braver with your language. Try and not hold back when you need to say something, because what you have to say is really, really important, and it's only the silence and the accumulative effect of everybody's silence that has got us into this space. There were times 5 years ago, 10 years ago, where people just were too polite, too kind, I use that word very loosely, to speak up. There were meeting rooms in schools where somebody said, we're going to have gender neutral toilets, and nobody said, what about girls? What about the privacy and dignity of girls in schools? There were times in councils where they said, we're going to make our space gender inclusive, and someone didn't say, for Christ's sake, can we just stop saying the word gender? There were police meetings where they stopped looking after women, where nobody spoke for women. And now I'm going to turn off the live stream and tell you where you can go. But thank you for joining. Thank you for coming.